Welcome in, folks, for a special pre-game episode of What's Bruin. Welcome into the viewers already. Matrix jumping in the chat. Gayle and I are coming to you pre-game as the Bruins prepare to take on the Utah Mammoth tonight at home after wrapping up their road trip. And, of course, making a waiver claim. Before we dive into all that, Gayle, how are you on this Tuesday?
I'm sick of traffic, dude. I'm so sick of traffic.
Well, normally we do the show on Wednesday, and Wednesday traffic's a little different than Tuesday traffic, which is funny how that works out. But obviously, you got some stuff going on tomorrow, so we bumped it to today. So, like I mentioned, Bruins make a waiver claim on a defenseman, left shot, 24-year-old. I'm gonna try the name. I'm gonna butcher it, I'm sure, but it's Vladislav Kolyachonok. I want to throw one at a V at the end just because that's what it sounds like it needs.
Well, let's see. So if you go with the NHL pronunciation guide, it is Kolyachonok.
Kolyachonok. Okay.
Kolyachonok. Which is a little bit easier to flow off the tongue if you say it that way.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. So he's 6'1", about 200. Like I said, 24 years old, from Belarus.
Right. First Bruins player from Belarus.
Claimed off the waiver wire after he was put on waivers from Dallas.
Yeah.
They were trying to squeeze him back through to Texas after he played 11 games, put up 3 points with them. I was actually confusing him earlier with someone else. I had done some digging, ironically, not 2 days ago on the Dallas defense, and I mixed him up in my brain right when I saw it with it was Petrovic.
Right.
It's who I was confusing him with.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously we all know the Bruins need help on the right side, but this kid can play on the right side. He can play on the left side. So, I think it solidifies one thing for us that, we saw a little bit from Sturm with Jonathan Aspero playing on that right side. He doesn't care if you're right or left shot. He will play you where you can succeed. And if you can do the job, he doesn't care what side you shoot from.
Well, and I think you need to also take into account that no matter what player they've called up, they haven't disappointed. It's not like, especially the defensemen, every time someone gets injured on the back end, which it seems like every time the Bruins get someone back, someone else gets hurt. Case in point, McAvoy comes back. In the game that he comes back, Aspero gets hurt. It's just like, what is going on with that back end? But every player even Soderstrom looks so much better than he did preseason. So it just shows that they're moving the people the way they're supposed to, and they're responding the way they should respond.
Absolutely. And I think what this move also can glean a little insight to is I don't think Sweeney's opposed to moving Andrew Peeke at the deadline if he gets a good offer for him. He's in the last year of his contract, so some people are saying blow him out the door. Obviously, he hasn't been the greatest for the team. I just think what it does is it adds a little bit more NHL option so that he can mix and move, or if he wants to put a guy on the waiver wire, if he needs to down the road. If Jordan Harris comes back healthy in 2.5, 3 weeks and you need to put someone on the waiver wire, you have a few options that you can pick from, and you're less, you're less strapped for, right now you've got 4 defensemen on IR. So,
right.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm not sure that, I'd like to see someone move up the lineup and play with Lindholm, whether it be Soderstrom, maybe low-rise ready. Someone needs to move up and play higher in the lineup on the defensive pairings before they move on from Andrew Peeke.
Oh,
you have to make sure that one of those players that's waiting in the wings is going to be able to pick up that slack and complement Hampus Lindholm. And I think, and I honestly, someone mentioned it to me on either um, Twitter or Blue Sky, one of the two, I can't remember which, that they would like to see. It was Robert Towning, I know that he would like to see Soderstrom play with Lindholm. And I agree 100%. And you and I have talked about this. Preaching it. You've been preaching it. But you know what? I think we needed to see what it was like when he first came back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
How he was going to respond to the new system to play, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
he responded phenomenally. So
yeah, and when I said that before we even saw him play a game, and
right,
so when we saw him come in preseason, I even said to you, I'm like,
right,
he's got to go down to Providence. Like he has not earned his spot. And then of course it was go down, earn your spot, be ready for the call up, and then he's been called up and he hasn't played bad. You know, I don't think sitting for a game hurt him. I know he immediately sat the second game that he was called up for, but I don't think that hurt him. We saw that happen with Jordan Harris, I believe, when he first got into the lineup. He got a game in and then he sat and then he got back in. You know, we saw that happen with Matej Blumel. We saw that happen with I think the only person we haven't seen that happen with was Georgi Merkulov.
right.
Everybody else has come up, played a game. They may have played a second game based on necessity, based on injury, but for the most part, he gets him in the lineup, gives him a taste, and gets him out of the lineup for a game, and then puts him back in.
Right.
So, Dom says that it's never late. It's never happens, but he's late this time. So I guess we just started early. Welcome in, Dom. And Dom, I butchered it in the beginning, so you already missed it. You said it was what? Kolyanov?
Oh, now I can't remember. Hold on.
I don't know. You're the one with the pronunciation guide.
I know, but I have to look it up because I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know. It is this year's Hustadinov. I'll put it that way.
Kolyakonic.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what he can do. Let's see. He was with Dallas. Where did Dallas play yesterday? I'm just curious when he would likely be able to join the team based on their schedule. Today is the 16th, so they were in LA. I wouldn't be shocked if he's not with the team until tomorrow. Like if we don't see him in the lineup until
you're
Thursday.
Talking lineup. You're not talking joining the team.
He might be with the team tonight, just based off of flying in and stuff. But I don't think they'd throw him into the lineup today.
Yeah, he probably flew in. He's probably actually on a flight right now.
Probably, because
they just claimed him 4 hours ago.
Yeah, they was going to win the waiver claims. Obviously, unless the league was able to say Boston's the only one who put a claim in, like you're going to get there. But yeah, I mean, once we knew at 2:00, he's probably on a 3 or 4 o'clock flight. Actually, he's coming in from Dallas because this looks like there was a home game against LA. So Dallas to Boston. Yeah, he'd probably come in tonight. Probably will get in time, just in time for the game, and head over. Probably won't even get his feet under him until tomorrow at best. So,
let's see.
Now we're googling flights from Dallas to Boston.
No, I'm not googling flights. No.
Dom says
tomorrow they have practice. So I would assume even if he doesn't, he may make it to the Garden tonight. If he doesn't, he'll be at Warrior. They're actually practicing at the Garden tomorrow. So that means no Warrior. They're at the Garden tomorrow for practice instead of Warrior. And then Thursday they have morning skate at Warrior, and then they host the Oilers. So you'll probably, and knowing that he came from the Western Conference, he'll probably, It depends on how he does with practice tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I like Dom's point. He says, I loved him with Flint Firebirds, and he was drafted by the London Knights too. So if the Hunter brothers like him, and then he just does his Dom thing, dot, 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 dot. And as Matrix points out, that if he can take to the defensive system and thrive in it, which I know Dom's pointed it out before, Sturm is playing a very similar system to what the Hunters run with the London Knights. So if he's familiar with the system, he may be able to come in and pick up on it much faster than some of the other guys. I mean, we've seen that with, a couple of the guys that Sturm brought in, like Victor Arvidsson, like Zadorov picked up this scheme a lot quicker than people probably thought he would. But it's similar to what he played out on the West Coast, so he's used to it more. So what's that?
I said, by the way, I'm showing you my Santa hat.
The Stanley Cup Bruins championship.
Yeah.
Santa
well,
hat.
I mean, Zadorov too. It's a little less daunting to pick up a new system when you're used to the franchise now. You know what I mean?
Well, that too.
Like, it may have. I mean, and plus, he went through it. Like, how many times are we going to talk about how Zadorov went through it last year? New coach.
Oh yeah.
And another new coach. And then another. So he's on his third coach.
But the defensive, well, more than that, it was like 6 because if you got to factor in LA and Calgary and all that time.
Just in his tenure with Boston.
Just in his tenure with Boston, he's on 3.
Right.
So, but the system he played in Calgary, the system he played in Vancouver is much closer to what he's playing now this year. And so obviously, like you said, once those other factors kind of get ironed out, he's on, he's all set there. Now playing in a system that you're more familiar with, it's a lot easier to kind of take that leadership role, not just on the ice or off the ice, but on it as well. And so we're seeing that from him. But if this kid can come in and do it as well, then it gives you a boost. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of the players who went down to Providence come up and thrive, is because they're getting a lot more practice time.
Yeah.
I know Dom said it from day one. This team needs practice time. That's basically what caused their slump. The 6 or 7 game losing streak earlier in the season was they had no practice.
Right.
And they're not getting a bunch right now with an every other day game schedule, but at least you're getting some in there because you're doing a road trip and then you're coming home and having a home skid. It's not just like a home game, home game, road game. You're not all over the place constantly traveling. You're able to get some practice in there too.
Right.
Ian asks, can the Bruins trade Fabian Lysell for Connor Geekie? Is that possible? The short answer is no. There are a lot of people who are, I don't want to say they're low on Fabian Lysell. They just have a lot of questions about Lysell. And so he is seen as a high upside player if he can figure it out. But the questions are, can he figure it out? And the parts that he needs to figure out are the things that Boston's waiting for him to figure it out. So if he figures it out in Boston, you can keep him all day long because he'll fit in this lineup. Now, the biggest thing for Fabian Lysell, as Kenny points out, no shot, is you got to get some consistency in his effort and not just in the offensive zone. He's got to give you a full 100% effort on defense as well. Yeah, Kenny, I would take that trade in a heartbeat if I'm Boston in a second. So there's no way Tampa's doing it, though. Connor's with Tampa, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not 1 for 1. I mean, they would do it if there was a little bit more to it.
I think if I'm Tampa, I'd require a lot more to do it. The questions are that severe on Lysell.
Right. Well, while we're on the subject of brothers, let's talk about Quinn Hughes.
Where do you want to start? Because Kenny and I talked last night we had a great little sit down episode of the Next Shift Pod with Jimmy Murphy joining, and we went at length on the Quinn Hughes trade. And there's nothing Boston could have done to get involved in that. In fact,
they weren't, as far as I know, they weren't one of the 6 teams.
No, in fact, basically what it was when Sweeney called him up, he said, "What are you looking for?" "Yeah, we got nothing like that. We can't. We're out."
Well,
That was
and
the
honestly,
conversation.
Sweeney, I don't care what anyone says. Quinn Hughes is not extending with Minnesota.
Oh, I can see him doing it. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely can see him
He
extending
has
in
said
Minnesota.
ad nauseum that he wants to play with his brothers in New
So what? At
Jersey.
some point. No, they never said New Jersey. They said they'd like to play together at some point in their career.
There's 2 in New Jersey. You don't think that he wants to just join them now?
I don't think it's his top priority, no. Because the second he goes in there, he's taking his brother's spot on the top power play unit, and that does matter to them. He's made it known that that matters to him. Luke has made it known that it matters to him.
Yeah, then
And
he's not signing an extension in Minnesota.
I bet you he does. Minnesota can now also offer him a front-loaded 8-year contract that no one else can. They can offer him the most money, and Bill Guerin just proved he's willing to pony up and do it.
Mm.
So I would favor that he is going to resign in Minnesota at this point. Now, it might not be a full 8-year extension, but it very well could be, a 3 or 4-year extension or something of that ilk. But I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't his only year and a half in Minnesota, especially the fact that he acknowledged how willing Bill Guerin was willing to step up despite the lack of a commitment to actually sign a contract. So I would say it actually favors him staying in Minnesota long, which is fine because if I'm Boston, keep him in Minnesota. We already suck against Minnesota anyway, so that's fine with me if I'm Boston. But there was no way Boston was in on that deal.
No.
So
Not for what Vancouver was looking for.
No. And I know people have tried to match and this and that, to match the value. If you're trying to get that NHL 25 trade bar to the value, you're putting in 7 or 8 pieces just to make that happen, including as many of the first round picks as you have. It like that's your starting spot, because none of the first round picks that you have equal Zeev Bouillon. So just to get to that part, you're including three pieces. So Matrix says, time for Lysell to get another shot with another team. I'm good with holding on to him, keeping him down in Providence. Let's see. Connor Kiki plays 200 physical game. Is over a point per game in Syracuse. Ian says, I want the Penguins to cause total chaos. Trade Crosby to Colorado, Malkin to Minnesota, Carlson to Dallas, Letang to Winnipeg. Yeah, Kenny said it yesterday. The saddest thing is that Mason Lohrei is the closest thing the Bruins have to Zeev Bouillon. And they're still worlds apart. So
I don't see, but going back to the Penguins, I don't see why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Kyle Dubas.
Thank you. I don't see him. No,
they're ironically kind of still in it. And honestly, I think they actually upgraded in goal. I think Stuart Spinner will be better for them than Tristan Jarry was.
I mean, Pittsburgh is 1 point out of a playoff spot right now, out of a wild card.
Yeah.
That's how tight the East is, because the top team in the East has 39 points. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. Carolina has 44 points. Top team in the Atlantic has 39 points. But in their division, they're 3 points away from Washington, who's 3.
And they're 1 point behind Boston for the second wild card spot.
And 1 point behind Philadelphia. Philadelphia and Boston both have 38 points.
Yep. So they're right in it.
Yeah.
If I'm them, I'm not. That's why if I'm them, like the only surprise that I have towards that deal is that that's what they spent on Sam Poulin in a deal for. But at the same time, given where their lineup is right now at the NHL level, it's not that much of a hit for them because he's not elevating into a Crosby or Malkin spot.
Mm-hmm.
So like okay, you can upgrade your goaltending because I really think they did going from Tristan Jarry to Stuart Skinner
Right.
and solidify that for this year. You don't have to worry about next year. You got Artur Shilovs going forward. You've got Bloomquist going forward, and couple. There's another kid in there. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but you've solidified that for this year.
Right.
That's what you needed to do. So, Matrix wants to know thoughts on the Friedman report that Matias Maccelli is a possible fit for the Bruins. Wouldn't mind seeing Toronto get fleeced again. Where do you stand on Matias Maccelli being being brought in by the Bruins in another deal from Toronto?
I mean, I didn't hear the report. Who's going out?
The report being that Matias Maccelli was someone the Bruins had interest in over the summer, and he's someone that the Toronto Maple Leafs are supposedly willing and okay with moving on from because he's not fitting in there.
Right.
And so the report basically being, hey, well, when you have a team that was interested and a team that doesn't want you anymore, naturally they're going to talk. So there you go.
But who's going the other way?
I don't care. I don't see it happening. And quite frankly, where's Maccelli going to play in this lineup that he improves your lineup?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I would like Maccelli to come in and see what he could do, sure. But at this point, see if you can get him off of waivers. Like, he's not doing much this year. He's not producing the way that he did for 2 seasons in Arizona. And yes, Arizona, because he only produced before they moved to Utah.
Right.
So he's falling off. He's probably already peaked his offensive production. Now, does that mean he's a bad player? No. Could he bring some value? Yes. But you're not in a position right now where you just need bodies at the NHL level. You already have that. You're trying to figure out which guys can be a part of what we're building going forward right now.
Right.
And so going to get Matias Maccelli, like you said, first off, what's the piece that's going out?
Right.
Like, and second of all, why are you bringing him in? What are you bringing him in to do? What's the purpose of the move? I just don't see it.
Right.
You know, it's we've said it before. You're making moves with a purpose. Right now, you're showing patience. That is your move.
Right.
Yeah, Dom says I would do Maccelli for Korpisalo. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people would do that. And I know Toronto's really hurting in goal right now. They're 4 deep right now, relying heavily on Hildeby.
No,
Joseph Wall just got back though.
Yeah, and he's playing tonight. So
yeah, I mean we'll see if he doesn't get hurt again.
Right.
And Maccelli's at 3.425 through the end of this year. Now the benefit is he's an RFA, but as Octolax says, his contract is a problem in any deal right now.
Right.
So as far as dealing for him, it's got to be at least Korpisalo and a pick. And I don't really feel like sending out a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick.
Right.
Like I don't. I'd rather make that pick, have a younger body in the system, create that youthful competition within the system amongst our prospects, you know, and just continue to grow and build what you're developing here. But yes, Ian, it would piss off Toronto if you dealt for Maccelli and then he came in and, you know, did happen to find that scoring ability. That I wouldn't hate that, but and then AA says, what do you guys think is our biggest need in terms of adding a piece? A new top 4 right-handed defenseman, a top 6 scoring forward, backup goaltender. I'll let you take this one first.
I'm staying away from backup goaltender. That's not the issue. That's really not the issue. So I'm going to stay away from that. I think you need to find a right-handed defenseman. I think that is their biggest priority over a top 6 scoring forward because they've shown, yes, Pasternak has 36 points. Geeky has 35 points. I think then it's Zucker and Lindholm who are in the 20s. You know what I mean? So and you got to think that some of these players have been in and out of the lineup too. It's not like they've been, but their biggest consistent problem is finding that right-handed D that can keep up with Hampus Lindholm.
Yeah. I think
I'm talking right now. In the off season, then I want both. I want a right-handed defenseman and I want a top six forward. You know what I mean? I don't think the backup goalie it's as big of an issue right now as adding a good defenseman to complement Hampus Lindholm on that right side.
I think if you're patient enough, you can get both a top six scoring forward and a right shot defenseman. If you're patient enough.
But what's the biggest need?
Both.
Well,
let's be honest. I don't think one's a bigger.
Right now, I put the defenseman over the forward because I think you're getting enough out of your forwards right now. But the way the rotating defensemen of injuries.
Yeah.
And you got to give Hampus time to build that chemistry with that top four right-handed D, because McAvoy and Zadorov are the top pairing now. They have shown, unlike last year, that they gel really well together. You know what I mean? And Hampus, I mean, yeah, he can carry peak, but don't you want him to not have to carry his pair?
Oh, yeah. I would much rather have, what we had with, Lindholm Carlo. You know what I mean? Like, guys that complement each other. And if you're talking about right now for if to improve the lineup for a game tonight, yeah, you want that right shot defenseman.
To improve the lineup overall this season, your biggest concern right now is that right-handed defenseman more than a top six scoring forward, because when you have Pastrnak, Geekie, Lindholm, Middlestat, Zucker, and Arvidsson when they're healthy, and then you look at the rest of the lineup and you've got now Steves, who is performing on the top line, Husadinov, who is performing on the top line. They're now in the third and fourth lines. You know what I mean? So you're okay forward. You're okay. You're gonna be able to be successful with the forwards that you have. But if you keep losing defensemen, at some point they're gonna break.
Well, yeah, you have to build your defensive depth overall, 100%. And it really doesn't help with the fact that right now you've got guys in Providence who are dropping like flies too. You've got I saw the tweet from Diver had it earlier. Let me see if I can pull it up. Like another 3 guys got hurt, and luckily they don't play, at the frequency in which Boston does.
Thanks, Ian.
What, finding a right-hand defenseman is like finding a midget riding a unicorn?
As I'm drinking, I'm like, holy crap, I almost choked.
And then AA adds, thanks, guys. One more question. We heard going into the season that this was a team that wouldn't be able to score very easily. Why do you think we've been able to surpass that this year? So to your point, she's asking about the scoring and why it's been so successful compared to where expectations were. I'm going to pull up Diver's tweet if you want to address that real quick.
Well, I think part of it is that it's the system. Part of it is the right people in the right roles. You're not forcing. I know that everyone's like, oh my God, Arvidsson. I know a lot of people didn't like his contract. Why did they bring him in? Same thing with Jeannot. But people are playing in their roles and they're playing the right way. Like Jeannot on the third line or the fourth line is the perfect place for him. He's not playing above his stature. You know what I mean? So, and I think that the players that Sturm has moved up and down the lineup, like Steves, Husadinov, moving Zaka over to the wing, then back to center, he's rewarding the players that are giving him a reason to reward them, and being that he came from not only just an assistant in the NHL level, but also a head coach at the AH level, and his new system is only helping the younger guys. They're not in. if you look at it with him, if Montgomery was still here,
Oh God.
or even if Joe Sacco was still here or Bruce Cassidy was still here, these younger guys would not be getting the opportunity that they're getting under Sturm.
Right.
Even Claude Julien in his later years, these kids would not be getting the opportunity.
Yeah, and I do think that some of it is going to be,
Chemistry.
It's chemistry, but I think some of it too is you're looking to see culture wise how players respond and stuff. Like I I'm on the fence still about a guy like Murat Husnudinov. I see arguments to keep him just because he has been so versatile for you. I mean, hell, you had him playing on a first line between Geeky and Pasternak.
Right.
And he was doing fine.
Right.
I say fine because he wasn't blowing anybody's socks off, but this is a guy who
But he did his job.
He made sure that those two guys didn't miss a beat. That's what he did. And he did it very well. So there's an argument to keep him. But we're still talking about a guy who's only got 8 points in 28 games. And so despite his I'm sorry if Montgomery was here, I'd start drinking.
I think most Boston fans would.
I think we probably already would be, yeah.
No, but and I get what you're saying. He only has 8 points in 20 games, but he's also no one expected him to come in and have 22 goals like Morgan Geeky.
Well, no one knew his name before he came in.
Correct. Correct. So the fact that he's not a liability on the ice outweighs the amount of points that he's putting up right now.
He right now is he's today what Chris Kelly was before. It's what he's doing. He's a bottom six guy who you can throw in a top six role, and he's producing at roughly the same pace.
He's not as good of a penalty killer as Chris Kelly was.
No, but I'm talking in your 5-on-5.
You said he's Chris Kelly.
No, I said he's offering you what Chris Kelly offered you. He's playing. He is your
minus
current day.
Penalty kill.
Minus the penalty kill. Yes, fine. Minus the penalty kill.
Well, you got to add that because Chris Kelly, he was one of your top penalty killers.
Yes, but you also brought him in to do that. You didn't bring in Murat Husnudinov to kill penalties. That being said, he has.
Well, then you can't compare him to Chris Kelly.
I'm trying to go through the ways in which he does compare to Chris Kelly.
Listen, don't make me slap you.
I think I should smack you this time.
No, because when you think, because you got to think of someone else then. You can't compare him to a guy that was more of a penalty killer specialist than he was an offensive threat. That's what you're comparing him to.
But Husnudinov is not an offensive threat, is my point. Husnudinov is...
But he's also not a special teams... He's not a special teams...
Kenny, don't encourage her.
Specialist, which Chris Kelly was.
That's my point. That's why if you're only going to get the production from Chris Kelly, you don't keep him. So if he's offering what Chris Kelly, then when can we expect him to coach the PK? Thanks, Dom. Don't encourage her.
Well, because they both know I'm right.
My point is...
That's not what you said, though.
Hold on. If Chris Kelly couldn't kill penalties, what value did he bring to the Boston Bruins?
Nothing.
Okay. So if you have a production of Chris Kelly in a similar role of Chris Kelly without the penalty killing production of Chris Kelly, why are you keeping that player?
Because I think he does more than what Chris Kelly did offensively without...
But he doesn't.
You're not listening to me. Let me finish my statement. Without putting the points on net, he's helping drive the offense. He's driving plays, which is something that Chris Kelly did not do.
Okay, but
because otherwise he wouldn't have been on the top line with Morgan Geeky and David Pasternak.
Okay, but Chris Kelly saw top line minutes when injuries occurred too.
Not the way.
But he was also on a line with players who did drive the line, so he didn't have to drive the line.
So then you're not comparing the right players.
I'm comparing the production, which is all I ever was doing. All I was ever doing was comparing the production of Chris Kelly and Murat Hustadinov at production-wise, points-wise. Now, Bob says Murat's shot hits the net far more often than Chris Kelly ever did. Fine, but if it's not leading to anything and he's not producing points, then there's a case to move on from him. That's all I'm saying. I said I'm on the fence about Murat Hustadinov with this team long term. I have no issues moving on from him. Why? Because he's not producing anything offensively, comparatively to Chris Kelly.
No, Dom, we're not in the same room.
And if you can please smack him. White walls are common, okay?
He's talking about my ceiling in your wall.
I know, that's what I'm saying. White is common.
See, even Matrix is telling me to smack you.
All right? If we would see punches thrown in. No. You made my point. All right? If Chris Kelly couldn't kill penalties, he brings no value to the team. All right? Murat Hustadinov brings slight more value than that. Not enough to say he's a core guy of this team going forward.
You're not ready to move on from Fabian Lysell, but you're ready to move on from Hustadinov?
I didn't say I wasn't ready to move on from Fabian Lysell. I said the reality is no team is going to take him on, so you might as well continue his development. First of all, that's two totally different statuses. Second of all, I also never said I'm ready to move on from Lysell.
You said you're on the fence with him.
I said I'm on the fence with Murat Hustadinov because if a team is willing to trade for him, I'm listening.
Well, you're listening if they're willing to trade for Elias Lindholm. That's what you always say. It's your job to listen.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just throwing your words back at you.
And next, can we compare Michael Ryder?
Listen, let's not compare, because you know what? It's like comparing Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak. I know that Morgan Geekie has 22 goals right now, and David Pastrnak only has 13 goals. I get it. Whatever. You know what I mean? They're two different players. When you compare players that have different roles on a team.
I didn't compare the players. I compared the production.
Okay, so let's compare the production of David Pastrnak and Morgan Geekie, since you want to do that. Morgan Geekie has twice as many goals as David Pastrnak.
Okay. What are we comparing them for? In what context are the numbers being compared to?
I'm just,
because we can also compare Morgan Geekie's goals to Nathan McKinnon's goals.
But
who's scoring more contact?
You wanted to compare a 20. How old is Murat Hustadinov? 22,
Murat Hustadinov
23?
is 23.
Right. He's 23. How old was Chris Kelly when he played for the Bruins?
He was 33.
Who do you think is still developing, and who do you think was at their prime?
That's why I said I'm on the fence about him.
Well, dude.
I said there's a case to be made for moving on from him. And Dom, I'm not comparing player to player. I'm not comparing skill level to skill level. I'm comparing the production each player has produced. All right? How valuable would David Pastrnak be if he wasn't producing any points? His value would be a lot lower.
I'm sorry. How valuable would David Pastrnak?
If David Pastrnak was at 7 points, 30 points every season, right? If he wasn't a 40, 50, 60 goal scorer, possibly, if he wasn't a 100-point producer.
Where the hell are you going with this?
If David Pasternak's not a 100 to 110-point producer annually, okay? If he's a 50-point producer, his value is not the same as what it is as a 110-point player, is it?
Well, Of course not.
Exactly.
But
So
you're
it doesn't matter. No. Hold on. You asked where I was going with it. Let me get there before you stop me. All right. If the point production matters, then the point production matters. All right. If Murat Husnudinov is going to bring a certain level of points to the system, all right, and that's his value, and he brings minimal value beyond that, to the tune of Chris Kelly bringing similar offensive production to the table and bringing more value than that of what Husnudinov brings, then if you're willing to move on from Chris Kelly without that one thing, then you need to be willing to move off of Murat Husnudinov, because he's not bringing you enough to surpass Chris Kelly minus the penalty kill abilities. No, Matrix, it's not. It's not like comparing that at all. No, Ian, we're not trading Pasta at all. Dom says, I have a player comp for you. Chris Kelly wore a cage and the Bruins won the cup. Charlie McAvoy is wearing a bubble and the Bruins will. ... Win tonight. How's that?
I think it's not. I get your analogy, but trying to say, take away David Pastrnak's success to make your point.
You're also talking about Chris Kelly, who was brought in for the penalty kill purpose to put you over the edge to win a Stanley Cup. That's not what Murat Husnudinov was brought in for either.
Did you think in Morgan Geeky's first season with Boston that he was going to do what he did 2 years later?
I didn't know what his potential was.
Do you know Husnudinof's potential?
No, that's why I said there's a case to keep him.
Oh my God.
I literally said that there's a case for both sides.
I need a wall.
There's one right behind you.
To bang my head against.
Octo says, if someone wants to give us a first for Husnudinov, I'm with you, but totally fair. I'm not even saying it has to be a first. Like, I would consider it for a second. I really would. I'd consider it. Kenny, it's my show. She ain't doing that. No. Obviously, if there's a first on the table, there's a lot more people that I'm considering moving than just Husnudinov. But again, I'd consider it for a high second. You know, I don't know what his future is with this organization over the course of the long term, and no one should. It's not proven. And actually, Matrix and I don't want to say we got into it, but the point I was trying to make, two things can be true at once. The team can be trying to win this year while trying to reevaluate everyone in their organization and where they're at and where they're trying to go. Those two things can simultaneously exist. All right. You brought in a whole new coaching system with Marco Sturm. So all of your prospects that were drafted prior to Marco Sturm, you have to reassess and reevaluate where they stand with where your new future is going to go. So guys like Fabian Lysell, Georgi Merkulov, even Frederick Brunet, like all of these guys who are in your pipeline are going to be reevaluated based on how are they going to fit within what Marco Sturm wants to do. True or untrue?
True.
Okay. Your NHL roster is going to go through the same kind of evaluation, which you started doing in training camp. True or untrue?
True.
Okay. This team did not come into this season as a Stanley Cup contender. True or untrue?
True.
Okay. Now, the fact that they're finding unexpected success contending for the division, essentially, that's where they're at right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're finding that unexpected success based on how they're playing, based on the success of some of the guys already in the system, does that mean you divert your entire plans of the future to go into a win now mode and trade futures to try to win this season?
I don't know. I'm not in Sweeney's head.
When has Sweeney ever made that kind of how many times during the Bergeron Marchand era did we see him go chips all in?
A few times.
Couple times.
Right.
Has that betting chip set been reset enough with the guys that you have in your pipeline that you're ready to go all in again?
No.
On this team?
No.
Okay. So why are you going to divert from the plan and start, like, you're going to continue to reassess all season long. And then again, when a guy like Quinn Hughes becomes available, yeah, you pick up the phone and you say, we're interested. What's it going to cost? And then you go, oh, we don't have that. We're not even close. We're going to bow out of this one. All right. But Don Sweeney's also on the management list for Team Canada. So he's already going to be on the phone knowing, having these other phone calls. So you're going to know who's available. He's going to have an idea of what they're going to cost, which also means he has an idea of what other GMs think of his guys because he has those conversations. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a team that's higher on Hustadinov than you are, why not listen? Why not consider that option of moving him?
He always listens. That's what you always say. That's his job.
Right. So when I say I'm not sold on Hustadinov being part of the long-term plan, I don't know what his role is because he's not producing points. Where's he going to fit in the lineup long-term?
I don't know. I mean, it took Zadorov a full season in Boston to find his game.
Matrix says it looks like you're watching paint dry.
Well, because my head hurts.
It's been a Monday, Tuesday, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Dom says the Easter Bunny doesn't put all its eggs in one basket. Sweeney shouldn't either. So that's why when I said, I think it was AA's question about what's the more important need. I think you just continue to stay on your path, evaluating what you have, seeing what comes on the market. You just saw a defenseman that you could acquire at the cost of a waiver pickup. You won the waiver pickup. All right. So now your waiver is going to reset. Fine. All right.
I just feel like
for all we know, this is the guy that's going to slide in next to Hampus Lindholm. Things are going to click. And now your need for a right side defenseman is gone. We don't know what's going to happen. Let it play out. Be patient.
Let Hustadinov play out.
I didn't say trade him tomorrow. Did I?
Dom, this one's for you.
Bold prediction, Sweeney will trade prospects come trade deadline week, if not sooner.
Dom, this one's for you. But what happens if Swayman gets hurt?
In what sense?
I'm just throwing it out there.
You have goaltenders in your system. You have depth in goal right now. Is he out short term or long term?
Oh my God.
Yes, the kid's 23. I didn't say deal him tomorrow, for Christ's sakes, people. All I said is I don't know where he fits in on this team long term. And I think that's a valid question mark to have on the kid.
Where does Minton fit long term?
Third line center.
Long term. You already have him
at a minimum.
You have him pigeonholed.
I just said at a minimum he is your third line center.
You didn't say that. You said
I said you said where's he fit in? I said third line center at a minimum.
But
I don't see him moving up into your 2C role. You have other guys who can fill that particular spot. You've got Higgins, Letourneau, and Lindholm, all for the foreseeable future,
Wait a
who
minute,
could be your
hold
1
on.
and 2Cs.
Higgins and Letourneau are not in the NHL yet.
I didn't say they were. I said long term.
You just said you have them. How do you know? You don't.
You have them right now in your pipeline on a trajectory to be in your term.
You don't know for sure that they are going to be 1 and 2.
I didn't say that you know for sure. I said right, but you also have other centers in your lineup who are better projected to be 1 or 2 Cs. They are in your pipeline. Those are the 3 main guys. You want me to list every single center prospect who has a higher ceiling?
What my point is, you don't know what you're getting from Minten yet.
No, and if he pushes himself to a 2C role, I'm not going to take him from that role and say, no, you're a 3C. That's why I said at a minimum, you know he can be your long-term 3C at a minimum. That is his minimum floor right now. Can he get better? Yes. If he gets better and proves enough and he can be your 2C, then that door stays open.
What has he done? What has he done?
Who, Minten?
Yeah.
He's become one of your best shutdown forwards in the middle of your lineup.
But where's the point production?
I didn't say.
Sorry. Did the cat get your tongue?
No, you're missing my point completely.
No, I'm not. He has 12 points in 33 games.
Yeah, he scored more than Hustadinov has. So right there, his production's more. Do we know yet if Higgins is playing center on the World Junior team?
He has 4 more points in 5 more games than Hustadinov.
Hustadinov has also played more games with Geeky and Pasternak. In, what was it, 2 games with Pasternak on his wing? Minten put up 2 goals. I'll take that production. I'd rather next time there's a center 1C spot open, let's see Minten go up there. You can't tell me he hasn't earned the opportunity to try it, right? If Hustadinov earned it, Minten sure as hell has.
They haven't tried it yet, though.
Right, because there hasn't been an opportunity to try it.
Well, there was plenty of opportunity. They were missing Lindholm for how many games?
Yeah, and then... But you weren't breaking up that third line at that time.
Why? If he earned the shot, why not? Why not see what he can do up there? I'm just playing devil's advocate, Chris, because you have it set in stone that Minten is at minimum your 3rd C when he hasn't reached his full potential yet.
Fine. You want me to say I'd consider trading Minten too? Sure, fine. I'll trade him. What's the package?
Well,
there you go.
You can't talk this way and then talk this way and have them marry.
I didn't. I just said I'd be willing to trade Fraser Minten too.
You'd be willing to trade David Pasternak if the package is right.
I mean, I'd listen, but trust me, the package for Pasternak's a hell of a lot higher.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And the package for Minten is a hell of a lot higher than that for Hustadinov.
Possibly.
Ian says he has made Leafs fans cry, and that's like gold. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that we're almost at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Didn't even get the bat off his shoulder on that one. Which one, Kenny? Which one? Bob says you also have Patra. Yep. And then also, if Sway gets hurt, roll Corpy and tank hard. Play frequently, sell in net, and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's see. I love that prediction from Dom. We can only hope that Sweeney will trade prospects come trade deadline week, if not sooner. Hughes was a huge gamble. In 2 years, he could walk, and Minnesota gave up a lot. Yeah, but those 2 swings at the can for Minnesota are going to be well worth it, especially when they're able to go deeper in the playoffs because they have I mean, think about that division right now. 1, 2, 3. You're going to have in some order Colorado, Dallas, and now Minnesota. If you're Minnesota, you have a hell of a better chance of getting through that division now that you have Quinn Hughes than you were before. So you're going to have 2 major cracks at the can with Quinn Hughes, not to mention a massive advantage in trying to re-sign him come July 1. Because you have from July to September before the new CBA kicks in. So you can offer him that 8th year. You can offer him a front-loaded, bonus-laden contract that's basically buyout, or I wouldn't say buyout proof, but it's lockout proof. It's lockout protected with all the bonuses. And Bill Guerin has proven that he's not afraid to take that kind of swing. So Dom says, I have a feeling whoever has the first pick, they will screw it up.
Well, this is interesting.
What's this?
Husadinov is playing in Arvidsson's spot, and Easymont has gone up to the 3rd line.
Isn't that what they did last game?
I didn't expect him to do it 2 games in a row, especially given the fact that they got trounced by Minnesota.
Everyone had an off night in Minnesota, though. They've never done well in Minnesota, and it was the last game of the road trip. I don't know. I'm more surprised. I mean, not really surprised, but I guess a little surprised, more so that they're going back to Swayman, but it does make some sense.
Why are you surprised that they're going back to Swayman?
Because of the way that they've used Korpisalo. This seems like a good start for him, not to mention the fact that you've got Edmonton coming into town on Thursday, and then you've got back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, and then you've got another Tuesday game.
Right. So if Marco Sturm is probably going to do Swayman tonight, Swayman against Edmonton, Korpisalo on Saturday, and then Swayman on Sunday. Or, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing is with Ottawa coming to town on Sunday, you would think the way Sturm has operated, he would go Korpisalo at least on Sunday because he likes to play those guys against their former team as much as he can. That's what he's done. And Swayman is the one who got trounced by Ottawa earlier in the season. So now maybe he swaps it up and says the last 2 against Ottawa you got, so we're going to go back to Sway for the last, for this one. Like, I can be a little shocked by it. And again, shocked might be a little stronger of a term, just a little surprised by it, but that's fine. Dom says Minnesota was a scheduled loss, should have started Korpisalo against them, and that's not hindsight. No, that's true. Dom, you were saying that beforehand. That's another thing is you really could have gone with Korpisalo against Minnesota. And it's still there's still no clear pattern of what he's doing with the goaltending. That's why I'm still a little surprised by it. That's all. Every game, you and I are sitting here trying to figure out which goaltender is going to start which game because we can't figure out what he's doing. Like, he may honestly be deciding day of. Anyway, so we got the game tonight, and then we talked about Edmonton, Vancouver, Ottawa, and Montreal. So a nice little 5-game homestand. What are you looking for out of these next 5 games? And then we will head off and watch the game as puck is about to drop shortly.
Why is he saying Minnie, not Mindy?
He misspoke. Mindy was the typo in the first one.
I mean, they need to bounce back and beat Utah tonight because last time they lost 3-2 against Night Dom. They dropped a close one to Utah last game out. It's the first time they're seeing Edmonton, so I think a 5-game homestand, they've played very well at home. They need to get out of the middle of the pack in the division. They need to win at least 4 of the 5 games. especially the latter two. They need the 4-point swing on Ottawa and Montreal.
Yeah, like you said, they need to take advantage of this home stretch. They have an advantage right now in that their front-loaded schedule put them a few games ahead. Other teams are starting to catch up, but this team has been on the road a lot early in the year. So when they have a home stretch like this, 5 games, they've really got to find a way to take, 8 of 10 points, 7 of 10 points at a minimum. Utah's a team that you should be able to beat. They don't have Logan Cooley. You should be able to beat them. Edmonton, they're still going to be riding a little high from the acquisition of Tristan Jarry because for whatever reason, they believe in him. So that one's going to be a little bit more tough. But at home, you should be able to take a point from them. I'd have to go and check and see what their schedule looks like. But from Edmonton to Boston, you should be able to take advantage of a little bit of, being tired there. Same thing with Vancouver. And then, like you said, the 2 divisional games, those are teams that you should be better than. So you should be able to take 7 or 8 of these points. So
yeah, Edmonton is in Pittsburgh tonight.
And then they don't play tomorrow?
No. So they're traveling from Pittsburgh to Boston. It's not a bad.
Well, is it a full road trip, or is this just like a 1-2 and then home?
Hold please. Hold please. I will tell you in 2 seconds. God, where are they? They're right there. Oops.
They are. I beat you to it. They were.
What?
What's that?
Yeah, they're the frig. Their schedule sucks.
They were home last Saturday against Toronto, and then they went to Montreal, and then Pittsburgh tonight.
Boston, Minnesota,
and Minnesota,
and then they head home. I mean, it's not.
They
weren't home against Toronto.
No, I said they were on the road against Toronto.
Oh, I thought you said they were in Toronto. Home against Toronto.
No, they were in Toronto, and then they had back-to-backs to Montreal.
They destroyed Toronto.
Yeah, and then they lost to Edmonton. They play Pitt tonight. Then they go home after Boston and have Minnesota and Vegas on back-to-back. So
they don't go home after Boston.
No, they go home after Minnesota. They go from Boston to Minnesota, then they go back home.
I'm not listening to you. My brain must not be working because I did not hear you say. I thought I heard you say they go home after Boston.
No, see, the whole Husseinoff was just being misheard.
Okay, we'll go with that.
All right. Well,
I think part of the problem is I'm freaking starving.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you go as we got a couple minutes before puck drop here.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts to round this out?
The Fleet get back to business tomorrow night. Face off against New York. They're on a 5-game road trip. Although they're at home one of the games, but they're the home team, but it's in Detroit. But they're on a 5-game, but they're also the only undefeated team in the PWHL. So, yeah.
Definitely worth a watch tomorrow while the Bees aren't on.
Yeah.
So, Octo says Husseinoff gets a hat trick tonight just to spite me. Look, I'll invite it. You know what?
Listen,
last year Brett called out Geeky, so and look at what that accomplished. So I'll take that.
Let's see, Morgan Geeky, Husseinoff. Brett was ready to walk away from Morgan Geeky. Literally, he was like, I've seen enough. Like, we're done. So unless you're saying that about Husseinoff, apples and oranges, dude.
Fair enough. Oh, well, we're going back to semantics of the word.
Yeah, but you and I need to figure out next week because Wednesday is Christmas Eve.
We will sort that out, and then we will send a post to let folks know when we will be live next week. In the meantime, everybody else go enjoy the game.